Hey guys, I'm going to be making this hat. So I'm going to be using the double crochet, and if you feel like you need a little extra help with the double crochet before we start, check out my double crochet tutorial. And I'm going to be using a medium-sized yarn and a 5.5 millimeter crocheting hook. So this is what you do. So to begin working on my hat, I'm first going to do a slip knot. And so I've taken yarn, I go around and create a little loop that goes into the hole and pull. And that is a slip knot. And I'm going to be working vertically on this hat, so I need to do 35 chains. So I'm going to create those now. Okay, and so once I've done my 35 chains, I'm going to start the double crochet. So to do that, I need to create 3 additional chains. And that is actually considered to be my first double crochet. And since it's coming out of this chain where my left thumb is, I'm going to make sure that my next stitch goes into the left one, which is where my thumb is now. So that's actually 5 over from where my loop is on my needle. So to do the double crochet, I do a yarn over and I go into the chain. For this project, I'm only going to be picking up 1 stitch, and that is because I want a bar design to appear on each side of the hat. So that will be a little bit more clear once I'm past the first row, but when I pick up this one, I'm picking up the piece of yarn out of the braid design that's closest to me. So I do a yarn over, pull through that one, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I keep doing this all the way down. So I'm going to yarn over, go into my next stitch, picking up only 1, yarn over, pull through that 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm just going to continue to do the same thing, all 35 stitches. So I finished the first row of the double crochet, and this is where things start to change a little bit. So throughout the hat, there's going to be 1 row that's normal. The second row, or every other row, is going to taper off at the end, and this is to create a smaller opening for the top of the hat, so it's easier to close off. So to begin, everything is going to be the same. I'm just going to create my 3 chains and then find the next loop over, and I've already yarned over, and I'm going to just pick up the piece of yarn that is closest to me off this braid. So you can see the braid here. So I'm going to pick up the side on the right only. And that again is to create that bar design on the hat. So let me yarn over, pick up this yarn, and complete my double crochet. So I'm almost done with my second row. And once I get to the last 5 stitches, that's when I start to taper everything off. So I'm going to continue to do my normal double stitch, just picking up 1, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left. So for the next 3, I'm going to do the single crochet. So I'm going to go in, just 1, and do the single crochet. And for the very last 2, because I really want to taper this down, I am just going to basically go through those stitches without giving any height. So I'm going through and just pulling the yarn through. So those are your first 2 rows. And this is the bar I was talking about earlier. And that is there because we only picked up 1 stitch instead of 2 when we were doing our double crochets. So the next thing you want to do is just repeat the process. You create a normal row and then another row where it tapers down. So I've done my 26 rows and I've been careful to alternate, making sure that every other row tapers off. So it should be pretty easy to close up the hat. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the ends together, and then I'm going to work up towards the portion where I close off the top of the hat. So I'm going to line up the ends as best I can and just basically sew them together with my crocheting needle. And there are some loose ends, as you can see, some little tails left over. I'm going to include those in the crocheting to hide them. So I'm just going to work my way down the line, closing everything off. And this will be the inside of the hat, so you won't even see the seam. And I'm just trying to match up the loops as best I can between the 2 sides. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it too much. You won't be able to see it from the outside. So I'm going to do this all the way down the line until I reach the top of the hat, and then I'll show you how to close this off. So I finished sewing together the ends of the hat, and this is the bottom and this is the top. And as you can tell, the top has the ends where there's been tapering off of the material, so it's smaller than the bottom. So I have this hole that needs to be closed up, and I'm going to go around in a circle, and every 2 to 3 stitches I'm just going to create a new stitch that ties everything together. So I'm going to start here, just go through that. I've skipped a couple. That's on purpose, just to help tie everything together. And I like to pick up 1 or 2 stitches when I go through. Just remember, the new stitches that you're creating should be pretty tight so that this is actually closing. So you can see the hole is much, much smaller, but we want it to close up completely. So I'm going to keep working until I can fully close it up. So I just start my circle all over again, continuing to pick up every 2 to 3 stitches that I see. So I've turned the hat inside out, and all it really needs now is a fuzzy ball at the top. So what I've done is I've cut about 200 pieces of yarn, each is 2 to 3 inches long, and I'm going to tie them together really tight. So you want to try to get everything centered as much as possible. And then when you're tying, you want to tie in a double knot just to make sure nothing comes undone. So once the strings have been tied on the inside of the hat, and the hat has been folded over, it's completely done.